Guys who did something stupid for a girl, what did you do? She crashed her bike going down a paved road, so I did the same to impress her or to make her feel better. I really don't know my reasoning. She landed in the ditch. I did not. In high school, this girl who I was close friends with but also had a not so secret crush on told me once how she really loved those huge 7-foot tall teddy bears. So I told her one day I'd buy her one and she laughed, writing it off as a joke. Fast forward like 3 years later, when we are going to the same local college and reconnected after slowly drifting apart after high school. She tells me one day that she's sick, so I do the only logical thing. Drive to Costco after class, drop $200 on that huge teddy bear, stuff it into the backseat of my tiny Honda Civic, drive incredibly dangerously, since the bear is taking up my entire rear window, then show up at her front door. She says it feels too weird and romantic given our past, me having that not so secret crush back in high school and her having to tell me multiple times that we are better off as friends. So I do the whole drive back and return the bear. Grew my hair long because she asked me to. She stopped going out with me. I kept growing it and wasn't successful with women until I got it cut. I like my hair a lot more when it's long, but everyone always comments on how good I look whenever I cut it. Tough times, man. Moved across the country to go to a university near her. She dumped me 4 weeks later. P.S. My life turned out great as a result of my decision to attend this school, so it has a happy ending. Oof, I made the opposite mistake. I had an in at an acting school in New York, but I stayed in freaking Michigan because I was infatuated with someone who was sticking around. Never even dated the person. I was just unhealthily obsessed. It was bad. I needed help. I wish I had left my hometown sooner. In high school, I saw a girl I liked walking with her friend. My genius brain decided I needed to impress her, so I decided skipping backwards and saying some quip would make me noticeable for sure. I started skipping backwards and said better get to class. I attempted to turn around while skipping and almost face planted but caught myself. I sped walk to class and never spoke to her again. First girl I asked out, I left a chalk outline of a body on her driveway, along with a clearly fake police report indicating I was dying to go out with her. Yeah. I still cringe at the memory. Edit. This blew up. Thanks for the silver guys. And to everyone asking, I did know her, and we had been flirtatious with each other. One of her friends assured me she would say yes to something creative. She did not say yes. This girl I really liked ages ago didn't really know who I was. I gave her away for her birthday, and it was probably the creepiest thing ever to her. I thought it was a surefire way to win her heart, get married and all that Disney crap. 15-year-old me was stupid. Was in a long distance relationship with her, flew back for Valentine's Day, turned up with flowers to see her through the window, sitting on the lap of her ex. That's when you don't even break stride on your way to the nearest bar and give those flowers to the first single girl you meet. It doesn't even have to be to hit on her, but it'll make her feel good. Plus bars serve liquor, and you can get drunk. I got on my bicycle and rode 18 miles to see my GF. My girlfriend lived 28 miles away. If you haven't done the math yet, my tire popped at 18 miles. So you're the guy in the my parents errand home meme. A girl was leading me on, but also being obvious about it. I was stupidly believing I could change her ways and get her to actually date me. She had revealed she always wanted a giant teddy bear. So for her birthday/Valentine's Day I bought a giant bear costume from Amazon and like 90 roses. The idea was one for every day I had known her. Creepy and cringy af looking back. Anyhow, she called me drunk the night before and screamed mean shit at me, and I finally broke down and told myself she was a shitty person because she always was terrible to me, and I let myself think I could change that because I was desperate to not be alone. In the end I created a sign that said free bear hugs and roses for Valentine's and wore the bear suit onto our college campus on Valentine's Day to give away all the roses. It made so many people happy that it was one of the best things I've ever done. So many hugs and girls were crying because they didn't have to feel so alone on a shitty commercialized holiday. It was cool. Plus the football players all took a flower and hugged me, which was surprisingly wholesome. I told my university-aged, now boyfriend, before our first date, that I thought he looked cute in his high school uniform. Had been looking at old pics, so he rocked up to pick me up in his full school uniform that barely fit him anymore. Did it yesterday, after her telling me she doesn't know what she wants, and that she doesn't think she wants a relationship right now. I left flowers on her doorstep with a card thanking her for the fun times we've had. When I was around 15 I got really frustrated that a girl that I had known for a while did not want to like me and get together. I was texting her in the middle of class and the teacher made a comment about it, and she made me hand over the phone and something snapped in me. I threw a chair across the room, hit my desk, which broke my hand, and I broke down crying. I thought about it today and it still makes me cringe sometimes. And I apologized to my teacher and everyone included. The girl is now one of my closest friends. Edit. I threw the chair and then slammed my hand into the desk for the people that are confused. Sorry, English is not my first language. Not necessarily for her, but I tried to impress a girl at my middle school fall festival when a guy bet me $60 I wouldn't eat a live goldfish he had just won. I did it. It did not impress her. A guy on my dorm floor the first week of college down at a live goldfish just because. He threw it up, and it lived for the entire semester. It became the official wing mascot. His name was Pukey. When I was 20, I was dating a girl my own age, and was absolutely in love with her, for a while. For Valentine's Day, I brought home a large sheet of cardboard from work, and cut it into a giant heart. I bought a red sweatshirt and some various paints, and made my most embarrassing outfit to date. I painted the giant heart red, and cut out an oval in the middle. I wrote on the heart, "Will you be my," then wrote Valentine on the shirt. I painted my face red, stuck it through the hole in the cardboard, and then showed up at her job to surprise her. Fortunately, she thought it was cute. So did her gay co-worker. Cool. One I can answer. I had a breakup that really hurt me emotionally. Another girl comes along to manipulate me. We were together for a while when I decided to enlist to the military. She was upset, so she convinced me to get an apartment with her that she could live in while I'm gone. Fast forward to 3 months after I left. I found out she opened a credit card in my name, $1,000, repeatedly cheated on me, and trashed the apartment. This was almost 3 years ago, and I'm still dealing with the repercussions. Edit. I would say the worst part of all this was the mental aspect of being manipulated. The financial part was bad, only because I wasn't making a ton of money before enlistment, and not so much after. Woke up at 4 AM to pick up flowers from a nearby park, came back home, put on some nice clothes, hid all the flowers in a backpack, walked all the way to school, and at the middle of art class I asked her if she wanted to go to homecoming with me. That's my number one. I did nothing. Was basically head over heels for a girl who was clearly interested in me. My anxiety prevented me from acting on the clearly displayed interest she had in me. I saw cuts on the arms of a girl whom I was close to in high school. I tried speaking to her about it, and she said I wouldn't understand. But I knew she had no one else to talk to, so what did I do? I tried telling her I would understand, and she wouldn't believe me. So I pretended I was also sad and anxious, and that me opening up made her comfortable enough to open up. She was right though. I didn't understand, but at least she had someone to talk to even if I couldn't offer much help. We ended up dating for 2 years after both getting even closer due to all that. Anyway, she ended up turning against all her morals and everything she stood for. Turned into the people that were making her depressed and cheated on me. Anyway, I must have done some Pavlov magic, because now I actually am depressed. I once pretended to be drunk, and I flirted with her best friend to try and make her jealous, and then because of that she said that I wasn't who she thought I was, and she stopped liking me. I wanted to make her think I was cool, but instead I made her think I was an ass. Not me, but a friend. When we were in elementary school, my friend had a huge crush on this girl. So one day he decides to ask her to be his girlfriend. So he brings flowers and a note saying I love you, meet me at the basketball hoops. So he puts the flowers in her locker. We didn't have keys for our lockers. Then he slips the letter to her and goes to the basketball hoops. She gets there too. Then he asked her out, she said no. So out of sadness my friend climbs on a tree and says, if you aren't going to say yes, I'm gonna jump. Yeah, it was still a no, and he jumps down on his feet and twists his ankle. She then moved to another city far away. This was in 3rd grade. I've told this story before, but when I was about 8 years old we took a field trip to the Field Museum here in Chicago. During our lunch break I decided to wander off to the gift shop and see what they had. I had a huge crush on this girl named Victoria in my class, and I saw this ladybug ring for a couple of dollars. I knew she liked ladybugs, and I had money my parents gave me to buy something at the shop, so I decided to buy the ring and give it to her. I was really nervous and kept waiting for the right time to do it. I eventually decided to just go for it and walked up to her near the end of the trip. She was with some of her friends, which made me more nervous, but I found the courage to do it. She looked at the ring and laughed. Her friends joined her, and she then tossed the ring in the trash. I was completely devastated and tried hard to hold back my tears. Even though I'm over it now, that completely ducked my confidence with girls for a long time. Looking back, I may have embarrassed her too, giving it to her in front of her friends, which is why she reacted that way, but whatever the case, it's probably the most embarrassed I have been in my life. I gave her all my thoughts, all my time, all my energy, did my best to be a great listener and have great back and forth communication to fix any issues we would encounter. We were happy, I thought, until one day she started to back off. We talked and what she told me left me speechless. Apparently she had me so high up in a pedestal that after an occasion where I had to cancel due to my sick grandmother, she felt sick and couldn't function. She told me she needed to be able to function when I couldn't be there, and that she needed time away from me so she can relearn to do that. I didn't know what to think then, and I still don't know now. Thank you everyone who took their time to comment and reply no my nonsense, and thank you to the kind stranger who gave me my first silver. This can be a great community. Dude I knew. His GF of 3 months breaks up with him before study abroad. He says they can do long distance. She says she wants to enjoy her time and doesn't want to date. She goes to Europe. He empties his bank account to buy a ticket to Europe. He shows up at her apartment. She had given out her address to get care packages from friends/family. She is shocked and freaked out to find him sitting by her front door. She flips out on him and tells him that he cannot stay with her. He had already emptied his bank account, so he spent the next week and a half trying to find places to sleep and finally just staying in the airport until his flight. Things that seem romantic in the movies are not in real life. Knew another dude that drove 14 hours to see his college GF of 2 months at her family's house in New Orleans over fall break. She didn't invite him, and he thought she was rude for being upset since he drove so far to see her for the weekend. Her family was freaked out since she was a freshman and had a dude follow her for a 4-day weekend. Not me, but my grandfather. After returning from WWII, he asked my grandmother on a date. She said that she would only date a guy with a convertible. Being persistent, my grandfather cut the roof off his car and asked her again. They were married for over 50 years. Girl states she wants to be a sports medicine doctor, so you know what? I want to be a sports medicine doctor too. 5 years later, I'm in medical school, while she changed career paths. Somehow this was the best decision I've made. The last couple of years in high school, my classmate and I were always flirting, and occasionally we kissed at parties. Then the moment came where she left high school, and I had to redo the last year due to an accident which severely hampered my study. She left for another city, couple of hours away, to attend university. We promised we would stay in contact. After I rehabilitated for about 80% within 6 months, we agreed upon seeing each other in her city on a Saturday night, but she never turned up. I genuinely believed we both liked each other. Normally I would immediately break off contact. However, this girl was different. Once or twice per year we would stumble upon each other in our hometown. We both have moved away from our hometown, and we immediately hit off with this obvious flirtatious behavior. This is continued by staying in contact by WhatsApp, text. After many tries like mentioned above, I made the decision to stop all contact with her because it hurt every time. She didn't even react to it by FB or text. It turned out she was very toxic, and I'm glad I don't speak to her anymore. Spent $7,500 on a car for her. It was a VW Golf she had always talked about wanting to buy. She wrecked it less than a month later on her way to one of her other boyfriend's house. Karma is a pain.